Welcome back, fellow listeners, to Red Hunt, where I, Red, delve into the enthralling world of real relationship stories from the depths of Reddit. So buckle up and join me in this captivating journey of love, heartbreak, and everything in between. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Am I the antagonist for going back to work after my husband said it would be better for me to stay home with the baby? So I, 25 female, had my first baby with my husband, 29 male, back in August. She's a good baby for her age, isn't colicky, and loves to play. However, she's never been great with naps, and she won't take more than a 30-minute nap at a time. She sleeps a solid 12 hours at night, so we know she's getting enough sleep. It's just hard sometimes to get anything done during the day, and it's especially hard to put her down for a nap. From the beginning, my husband and I had discussed me going back to work. He teleworks 100% of the time, and I telework 50% of the time, because my job requires me to be in the field some days. I thought we were on the same page about this until today when I had to go back to work. My husband was pouting this morning. I asked him what was wrong, and he sighed, stating, "Do you really have to go back to work?" I was confused because we talked about this already, and I'd been reminding him my maternity leave was ending, so this shouldn't have been a shock. We'd also worked out us being the primary caretaker of our daughter every other day. When I'm teleworking, I'll watch her, and I thought this was fair. He then proceeded to go on and on about what if I get fired, and how will I have time to work, and empathized that I should just be a stay-at-home mom. This is where I start to get frustrated. I have been caring for my daughter 95% of the time since her birth. When she was a newborn, my husband used to leave me by myself with her so that he could go off to DJ somewhere or go over to his friend's house to make music. I was the one waking all the time, every night, to care for her. I was the one that did all the regressions, growth spurts, and leaps. My husband, in my opinion, has had it easy with our daughter up until now, because I'm not around to jump in when he decides things are getting too hard for him to deal with. It's even in his job description that he's allowed to do childcare while he's working, so that's not even a good excuse. Now, where I may be the eye is that ultimately, this isn't our infant daughter's fault. She can't feed or put herself to sleep on her own, and I'm worried she's going to be all out of whack from him caring for her because he doesn't always pay attention. He's relied on me to watch her. Now I don't know if I should just quit my job so I can watch her. I guess what I'm saying is I may be an because my daughter needs me, if that makes sense. So am I the asshole? It sounds like your husband is being a bit selfish and not fully considering your needs and the plans you both agreed on. You have been doing the majority of the childcare, and it's not fair for him to suddenly expect you to quit your job and become a stay-at-home mom. It's important for both parents to share the responsibility and to find a balance that works for everyone, including your daughter. Am I the antagonist for telling my wife that she's entitled and has it too easy? My wife Anne, female 47, and I, male 48, currently live alone as our children have moved out. I work and provide for our family while Anne takes care of the household as a stay-at-home mom. Recently, she has expressed feeling owed for raising our kids and managing the household. She desires more personal time and less housework. As a result, I have taken on the majority of the household chores, including cooking 3 meals and cleaning the house. Despite still working full-time and not neglecting the chores I used to do, such as gardening and heavy lifting, Anne has become increasingly abusive. She berates me in front of our visiting children, claiming that I only contribute with my physical strength and neglect the household tasks. This has reached a point where I can't even take a moment to relax in the car without feeling overwhelmed by the long list of things to do. Last night, she went out with her friends while I went to bed early for work. This morning, I spent over 30 minutes searching for the car keys, which weren't in their usual drawer. I woke her up to ask where she had put them, and she grumbled at me to find them myself before going back to sleep. Eventually, I found them in her handbag and ended up being late for work. When I returned home today, she was screaming at me for invading her privacy by going through her handbag. I tried to explain that she had told me to find them myself, but she kept interrupting, insisting that I should have respected her rights and waited for her to wake up and find the keys herself. It was at the moment she said she didn't care if I was late for work that I lost my temper. I yelled back at her, accusing her of being entitled and selfish. I pointed out that she only enjoys her current lifestyle because of the money I provide. I mentioned that she has had it too easy over the past year, and if she wants to see the worth of her efforts, she can either go back to work or take responsibility for all the chores she has delegated to me. Anne was shocked by my outburst. The rest of the evening was quiet, and she locked herself in our bedroom and has not come out since. I reached out to our children and informed them of what happened. While my daughter agrees with me, my son believes that I may have been too harsh by calling Anne entitled and implying that her efforts as a stay-at-home mom were insignificant. They have decided to take turns reaching out to Anne, and now I am questioning whether I went too far in yelling at her about taking advantage of our situation. My daughter has suggested that we consider couple therapy and mentioned that she will propose the idea to Anne as well. I am more than willing to participate, as today's events have made me realize how tired and exhausted I am of this lifestyle. Wow, that sounds like a really tough situation to be in. It sounds like you've really been shouldering a lot of the household responsibilities lately, and it's understandable that you're feeling overwhelmed. Calling your wife entitled might not have been the best way to handle things, but it's great that you're open to couples therapy. Hopefully that can help you both work through this and find a better balance in your relationship. Hang in there. My boyfriend's friend expressed his feelings for him. Should I tell him this makes me uncomfortable? My boyfriend has a friend, let's call him Dave, who recently confessed his feelings for him. I'll give you some background information before diving into the details. Dave is a colleague of my boyfriend, and they have been friends for a while. Dave is openly gay, and we have met several times without any issues. A few months ago, something strange happened. After a night out with his work colleagues, my boyfriend and Dave were dropped off together at Dave's house. My boyfriend planned to walk home from there. That night I had been texting my boyfriend before going to bed. Around 3 a.m., he messaged me saying he was on his way home. I was already asleep. The following morning, when I woke up and saw the 3 a.m. message, I noticed he messaged again just after 5 a.m., saying he was home. It seemed odd to me because the place he was coming from was only a 30-minute walk away. I thought maybe he forgot to reply, so I asked him about his night and when he got home. He told me that the whole work group was dropped off together in an Uber, so it took him about an hour to get back. This confused me even more because it didn't explain the 5 a.m. message. I questioned if he ended up hanging out at Dave's house, but he denied it without any further explanation. I found it a bit strange, but I let it go, even though his responses seemed out of character, and I could tell he was hiding something. During our next date night, he finally confessed that he hadn't told me everything about that night. He revealed that while he was walking home, Dave, who had already gone home after being dropped off at his house, suddenly started running after him. Dave confessed that he had strong feelings for my boyfriend for a while and expressed interest in starting something with him. My boyfriend was in shock and reminded Dave that he is straight and committed to me. Dave asked if there was any chance my boyfriend would consider it, but he firmly declined. I wasn't extremely upset about this story, although I was bothered by the fact that Dave propositioned him that night. I asked my boyfriend why he kept this a secret for a few days instead of telling me right away. He admitted that he thought I might get upset, so I asked him why I would be. This prompted him to add more to the story. Apparently, while Dave was confessing his feelings, he also took the opportunity to badmouth me. Despite not knowing me well, Dave told my boyfriend that I don't deserve him and he could do better than me, among other disrespectful things. This truly upset me, as Dave not only tried to convince my boyfriend to cheat but also insulted me. My boyfriend and Dave ended up having a long conversation in the rain. My boyfriend jokingly referred to it as the most romantic thing anyone has ever done for him. I don't know how much my boyfriend defended me or made it clear that such dialogue is unacceptable, but he did shut it down. Since then, I have felt increasingly uncomfortable with my boyfriend's friendship with Dave. I don't want to be the type of girlfriend who has issues with her boyfriend's friends, but I believe Dave crossed a line. Unfortunately, they spend a lot of time together due to work and my boyfriend's close relationships with his colleagues. The problem is that as time goes on, my discomfort grows. Yesterday, I posted about my boyfriend making plans with his friends, the work colleagues, on our anniversary. They were planning to play Dungeons & Dragons, D&D, and Dave went over to my boyfriend's place to help him create his character. My boyfriend had made it seem like there would be a group of people, but it turned out to be just Dave. I realized this because Dave rang the doorbell while we were on a FaceTime call. My boyfriend abruptly hung up the phone, promising to call me back after Dave left, making it seem like it wouldn't take long. However, midnight came around, and he still hadn't called. I messaged him to ask if he was free, and he responded that Dave was still there, and they were having drinks. Since I had work the next day, I decided to go to bed, and we agreed to talk today. During our call today, my boyfriend explained that he was extremely hungover because Dave had stayed until about 4 a.m. last night. I asked him what happened because it wasn't supposed to be a big night. He said they initially started with beers but switched to margaritas and lost track of time. Curious about what they did for the entire night, it was over 9 hours, I asked, and he told me it took them about 3 hours to create his D&D character. Then Dave asked my boyfriend to teach him how to DJ, as my boyfriend is into music and jing. I didn't say much beyond that, but my boyfriend mentioned he would be seeing Dave again tonight for the D&D session. This whole situation has seriously bothered me. Call me insecure, but I am not comfortable with my boyfriend spending one-on-one time with someone who has confessed deep feelings for him, especially someone who disrespected me to pursue him. I know my boyfriend is not interested in men, but it doesn't change how I feel. Even if nothing is going to happen, it feels as if my boyfriend is entertaining this person's interest, particularly someone who clearly doesn't respect our relationship. Should I talk to my boyfriend about this? What should I say? It's totally understandable that you feel uncomfortable with your boyfriend spending so much one-on-one time with someone who has expressed feelings for him and disrespected your relationship. It's important to communicate your feelings honestly with your boyfriend and have a conversation about boundaries in your relationship. Let him know how his actions and the situation make you feel, and see if you can come to a compromise that makes both of you comfortable. Am I the antagonist for not giving my stepmother my hair? I, a 29-year-old woman, have been growing my hair out since before the pandemic. It has grown to about halfway down my backside. I have never dyed it, and I rarely style or blow dry it, so it is in very good condition. My natural color is a unique shade of red that people often comment on and say is nearly impossible to recreate. Many people have expressed their admiration for my hair. Recently, I decided to cut my hair short and donate it to Angel Hair for Kids, a company that makes wigs for children battling cancer and other illnesses. I informed my dad about my decision, and he thought it was a great idea. I ended up cutting off 16 inches of hair, and I must say, I have never felt more like myself with my new haircut. For the first time in years, I feel confident and comfortable in my own skin. Later that same night, I sent my dad a picture of my hair at the salon before and after the cut. About an hour later, my stepmother, 71 years old, whom I will refer to as Jane, responded. She asked if I would consider giving her the hair so that she could have it made into a wig for herself. Jane and I have had a difficult relationship in the past. There was a period of 2 years during high school where I simply did not speak to her or my dad because of an issue she caused, but never apologized for. However, we have moved past that and have a better relationship now. Over the years, Jane has struggled with significant health problems and has lost nearly all of her hair. Recently, she purchased a couple of wigs that look amazing on her. Whenever we talked about her wigs, she would joke about me giving her my hair since I had so much of it. Apparently, I misunderstood her and she wasn't actually joking. When Jane asked me for my hair, I had already sent it away for donation. I informed her of this, but she didn't say anything and simply asked for more pictures of my new haircut, which I sent. Honestly, the idea of giving her my hair feels odd to me. I can't help but imagine her showing up at Christmas wearing a wig made from my hair, which brings up complicated emotions regarding our past relationship when she was more controlling. When I saw my dad the following Monday, he immediately brought up the fact that I had chosen to donate my hair elsewhere instead of giving it to Jane. I asked if she was upset about it, and my dad said that she was, and that he was also disappointed that I didn't consider her first. This has caused tension between us and has taken away from the overall positive experience of doing something good and feeling good about myself. I now feel like I have done something wrong and selfish. To summarize, I donated my hair to a children's cancer foundation instead of giving it to my stepmother who is experiencing hair loss. Now, she and my dad are disappointed in me. Am I the asshole in this situation? Your decision to donate your hair to a children's cancer foundation was incredibly selfless and meaningful. It's understandable that it would feel strange and uncomfortable to give your hair to your stepmother, especially considering your past relationship and the emotions it brings up. Your dad's disappointment seems misguided, as your choice to donate should be celebrated rather than criticized. My BF is being accused of cheating on me by a former friend who had a falling out with him. My boyfriend and I, who have been dating for a year and a half, went on a group trip around 7 months ago. We had a disagreement one night, and I went back to our hotel room while he stayed out. The next day, he mentioned that one of the boys did something to anger him, but I didn't pay much attention because I was busy packing and preparing to adopt a pet. About a month later, I met up with the boy my boyfriend had an issue with and one of my friends from the trip. Let's call them Mike and Sally. Mike started badmouthing my boyfriend, criticizing his character and saying they could only be friends again if they fought physically. Mike had borrowed money from my boyfriend and was refusing to pay it back, using it as leverage. I didn't like the hostile energy from Mike, so I distanced myself from him and asked my boyfriend to do the same. It was strange to hear Mike trash talk my partner, as it seemed out of place. I asked Mike if my boyfriend had done something disrespectful to me, but Mike confirmed that their dispute was personal and unrelated to me. Now, my friend Sally confides in me that Mike revealed my partner had cheated on me that night of the disagreement. Mike claims he can't say for sure, but he saw my boyfriend in a room with another girl and his best friend, with the intention of having a threesome. According to Mike, my boyfriend kicked him out and locked the door. I confronted my partner about the accusation, and he remained calm and looked me in the eyes as he denied it. He expressed his disbelief and insisted that he would never do such a thing, knowing the pain of being cheated on himself. He answered my questions and expressed his frustration when I suggested he cheated to leave me. He swore on the lives of his mom, dad, and nephew, important people in his life, to convince me of his honesty. This confession left me torn on whom to believe. It's hard for me to understand why Mike would make up this story 7 months later, which inclines me to believe him. However, my partner has always been loyal and trustworthy, never giving me a reason to doubt him. Even when I've had moments of anxiety, I found nothing incriminating when I looked through his phone. He respects me, does not talk about other women, and stays faithful. Loyalty is important to him, evident in his relationships with others. What confuses me more is that Mike claims he confessed to Sally to start the year fresh, yet he refuses to discuss it with me, saying he doesn't want to be involved. Additionally, he admitted to Sally a week prior that he was in love with her. There are many peculiar aspects to this story, and I'm genuinely unsure about what to believe. Should I trust my partner, who has never given me a reason to doubt him, or should I let doubt prevail? It's a difficult decision to make because I'm building a future with him, and I don't want to regret my choice in the future. It definitely seems strange for Mike to suddenly come clean about your boyfriend cheating after all this time. On one hand, your boyfriend has always been loyal and hasn't given you any reason not to trust him. But the fact that Mike is refusing to talk to you about it and admitted to being in love with your friend raises some red flags. It might be worth having an open and honest conversation with your boyfriend to get more clarity and listen to your gut instincts. Don't mess with the crazy server. I worked at a wing restaurant several years ago. The place would get incredibly busy on nights when there were big sporting events on television. There was an older server named Belinda who worked there. She had a rough appearance, indicating that she had partied a lot in her youth. As she got older, she developed a taste for Vicodin. Anyway, another server named Karen told Belinda that she could get her some Vicodin. Belinda gave Karen money, and later that night when her shift was over, Karen miraculously had lost Belinda's money somehow. Well, Belinda wasn't the type to be played. She had lived a rough life and could be pretty vindictive if you screwed her over. The next day there was a sporting event that brought a lot of people in. Karen was waiting on a party of about 8 people, and they were drinking and eating to their heart's content. They racked up about a $200 bill, and they were paying it as one check. One of the guys gave Karen his credit card to cash out the bill. There were point-of-sale stations placed sporadically throughout the restaurant, and it wasn't unusual for servers to gather around these stations to chat during downtime or to wait for their turn on the POS. I say this just to illustrate that it wasn't unusual for several people to be in that area or using that computer at the same time. Karen was at one of the OA systems cashing out her party table, and in her hurry to get back to her section, she accidentally left the credit card sitting beside the POS. She took out the credit card receipts and immediately noticed her error. She couldn't have been gone from the POs for more than a minute before realizing her mistake. In that time, Linda was watching the whole thing as it happened because her section was close to the POAs that Karen was using. She saw her leave the credit card behind and she swooped over and grabbed the card. Belinda put the card in her apron, not with the intent of using it, but just to throw it away and get Karen into trouble for losing a customer's credit card. Pretty shitty, right? Well, as you can imagine, this situation quickly snowballed. The customer was not amused or understanding. He freaked out on Karen for losing his card. Then he flipped out on management who couldn't seem to make sense of what happened or offer a solution to the situation. Karen was a mess, crying her eyes out at this point. The customer accused her of stealing their card, and they called the police. The police showed up at the restaurant and questioned Karen. As the police were questioning Karen, Belinda panicked. She was afraid she would get caught with the credit card in her possession, so she slipped out the back door and threw the credit card into the dumpster so that it wouldn't be found. I'm not really sure what the protocol was with the police in this situation, but they took a report and noted Karen as the last one to possess the card. The customer canceled their credit card right there on the spot. Karen got a first and final warning against her from the restaurant, and she was fired within that week for forgetting to ring a soda onto a check. A totally harmless mistake that wouldn't have gotten anyone else fired. There was just no redemption for her at that point. Belinda never got caught. She was never found out by management or the police. How was I privy to the information? I was dating Belinda's son at the time, and Belinda confided in me. In hindsight, I should have said something to clear Karen's name, but I just knew better. Belinda's life had been too rough. She didn't have much of a conscience left. You didn't cross Belinda without consequences. Damn, that's some crazy drama right there. It sucks for Karen that she got blamed and fired for something she didn't even do. Belinda played a sneaky move and managed to escape without any consequences. It's wild how things can spiral out of control so quickly. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.